The story begins in a luxurious room, where a woman in a blue dress approached her master, asking what was making him so worried. Sitting in an armchair, he revealed that a certain Jiang Chang would return the next day. She then sat on his lap, assuring him that Zhao Lan wouldn't let him return alive, and with a sinister smile she said he was overthinking it, because a nobody with a supreme treasure was a dead man. The master, still apprehensive, mentioned hearing that people from the Huan kingdom were also after the lotus, and that they seemed to have powerful backing, but she calmed him down, explaining that he was referring to the young master of the Jiangshang gang, an idiot who only relied on his father's power to get by. Then she drank from his glass and guaranteed that as soon as Jiangcheng boarded that train, his death would be a certainty. The scene then shifted to a train station, where a voice shouted Jiangcheng's name. It was a girl with purple hair, who waved excitedly at him with a suitcase by her side. Next to Ban Feng, our protagonist, Jiangcheng praised his fiancée's beauty, comparing her to an old calendar pinup. Ban Feng questioned his friend's outdated reference, asking why he liked old things so much. Then he flicked a toothpick with his fingertips, hitting a distant trash can with precision. The blonde guy, impressed, wanted to know why he'd never seen that trick in 4 years. But Banfeng replied that it was all a matter of keeping a calm mind. That's when the fiancé approached them, asking if they had been drinking, and the blonde guy replied that it was a farewell drink before they went their separate ways. Next, Jiang Cheng asked Banfeng to give him a call later, but our hero retorted, asking if he was afraid he'd get lost. The blonde then explained that it wasn't that, but since he also drank a lot, he might fall asleep on the train and needed someone to remind him to go to the bathroom, but Banfeng pushed him away, saying that with Lu Xiaolan there, she wouldn't let him wet his pants. His friend then pulled the girl close, claiming she slept like a rock, much more heavily than he did, and with a dark look he whispered that she wouldn't wake up even if the train derailed. That's when Banfeng suddenly stopped, clutching his head. His eyes widened in pure shock, and a wave of pain hit him, causing his condition to flare up again. But an announcement for the boarding of train 160 soon brought him back to reality, and so, his friend finally said his goodbyes. Banfeng composed himself and told him to take care. As the couple walked away, his blonde friend wished him the same. Once they were further away, the girl asked why he had told Li Banfeng to call him. He asked her not to be mad, explaining that Banfeng had a mental illness, and he was worried about him going back alone after drinking so much. She commented that Li Banfeng was a nice guy, but a little crazy, which ended up scaring people off. Her blonde friend then corrected her, stating that Banfeng wasn't crazy. Back in the room, the woman relaxed in the master's arms, who asked if the Crimson Life Lotus wouldn't be lost if he Jiacheng died. She then revealed the plan, explaining that Zhao Lan already knew Jiangcheng had a friend named Li Banfeng, and that he knew where the lotus was. She told him not to worry, because as soon as Zhao Lan got the location of the lotus, Banfeng would no longer be in this world. Far away, Banfeng was walking through a dark dormitory, complaining that the janitor had turned off the lights before 11 to save energy. As he walked, he began to think that everyone was gone, leaving only him, the guy with a history of mental illness who couldn't get a job. He compared himself to Jiangcheng, who could at least be a shut-in at home, while he, being homeless, couldn't go back to the orphanage. Suddenly, a terrifying vision struck him. He saw Jiangcheng begging for Banfeng to save him. Agonizing faces appeared in green flames, and he wondered why the image of the disintegrating train kept coming back to his mind. He blamed Jiangcheng's joke about the train derailing, but then he remembered he needed to call to remind him to go to the bathroom. On the other end of the line, a voice called out to Banfeng. While talking to this person, Banfeng noticed someone lying on one of the dorm beds. Soon the person said they had to go, ending the call. So our boy approached and tried to wake the stranger, yelling for him to get up. But upon touching the man, the vision of the collapsing building returned with full force. When the guy turned over, Banfeng was shocked to realize it was Jiangcheng himself lying there. He panicked, wondering how Jiangcheng was there when he was supposed to be on a train to Pulo, and if he was asleep, who the hell answered the phone? Quickly, he grabbed his phone and tried calling Jiangcheng's number again. However, an automated message informed him that the number he dialed was temporarily unavailable. Desperate, he tried to wake Jiangcheng again, shaking him and calling his name. He then noticed his friend's face was very pale, and his breathing was shallow, almost imperceptible. Realizing the gravity of the situation, he decided he needed to call an ambulance immediately. But as he picked up his phone, he saw a message from Jiangcheng that said, "Banfeng, save me." The image of Jiangcheng on the train and the sight of his friend asking for help merged in his mind, creating a paradox. He wondered how Jiangcheng, who was right in front of him, could have sent that message. So who was the sender? The scene shifted to a hospital, where Jiangcheng's uncle asked Banfeng if his nephew had woken up yet. Banfeng said he hadn't, and lamented that not even the accident made Jiangcheng's parents show up, showing how unreliable they were. The uncle, Jiangcheng, thanked Banfeng for his friendship and offered him a small envelope of money as a token of gratitude. Banfeng refused the money, but the uncle insisted, saying Jiangcheng really needed that help at the moment. The uncle then said Banfeng hadn't slept in 2 days and sent him home to rest, assuring him that he would stay with Jiangcheng. Exhausted, our hero agreed and left the hospital. Once outside, he looked at the message again and concluded that some imposter was trying to pull a prank on him. Annoyed, he thought it was a ridiculous scam and threatened to call the police, but a voice interrupted him. It was a man who said he was from the police. Banfeng was surprised, as he hadn't even had time to make the call. The police officer told him not to be nervous and introduced himself as Chen Chamfeng, but said he could call him Old Chen Chen to make things easier. He then got straight to the point, asking in a hospital corridor if Ban Feng was the one who brought He Jiaqing there. Ban Feng confirmed and began to explain that he had taken Jiaqing and his girlfriend Lu Xiaolun to the train station. After that, he said he took the subway back to the dorm and found him unconscious in his bed. He pointed out the inconsistency in the story, since the trip from the station to the dorm took 2 hours, making Jiaqing's return inexplicable. The officer's tone then shifted, asking if he and Jiang Cheng had any problems, and mentioning he'd heard about his mental health issues. But Ban Feng denied being crazy and countered the suspicion, stating that Lu Xiaolun had boarded the train with Jiang Cheng and could prove his innocence. Soon, Officer Chen insisted, questioning how Jiang Cheng got back to the dorm if they had both boarded the train together. He simply replied that he didn't know, and suggested the officer ask Lu Xiaolun directly, since they were together the whole time. The officer then asked what train they were on, but Ban Feng, annoyed, said he had no way of knowing. Suddenly, a memory hit him, and he recalled that Jiang Cheng and his girlfriend had boarded train 1160 together. The police officer then revealed a shocking piece of information. On the night of Jiang Chen's accident, train 160 derailed and fell off a cliff, leaving no survivors. And well, the news left him stunned. He then remembered his friend's words and wondered if he already knew what was going to happen. Confusing images flooded his mind, and a strange sensation completely overwhelmed him. In the midst of his confusion, he wondered how he could have received a message from Jiang Cheng at a time like this. He considered telling Officer Chen about the strange message, but he didn't even know how to begin explaining the bizarre situation. The officer noticed his distraction and asked if someone was trying to contact him. Jiang then said his goodbyes, saying he had already taken up too much of his time, and asked him to get in touch if he remembered anything. As he shook his hand, he explained that although there was no direct evidence against him, Ban Feng needed to cooperate and not leave the city for the time being. Once outside, our boy stared at the building, processing the entire conversation and the surreal situation he was in. On the other side of the window, Captain Chen was approached by a colleague who asked if he had obtained Ban Feng's call records. She reported that after the incident, he made one call to emergency services and the school called him twice, but there were no other records or messages. The captain concluded it wasn't a matter of there being no records, but that they couldn't trace them because someone was contacting him through a hidden channel. His assistant continued the report, revealing that Ban Feng was an orphan with no criminal record, but with multiple cases of self-defense. In one incident, he had fought 5 people alone, leaving 1 seriously injured and 4 with minor injuries. Laughing, Captain Chen concluded that the kid really was crazy. The captain asserted that Ban Feng definitely knew something and ordered Dong Xiaoning to follow him, but then decided to send someone more experienced. He continued his line of thought, saying that someone named Da Tu should keep an eye on He Haisheng. With a serious look, the old man concluded that he wouldn't be an easy opponent to deal with. Far away, now on the subway, Ban Feng received a text message from Officer Chen himself. He immediately became suspicious, realizing that Old Fox was trying to set him up. Right after, a new message arrived from Jie Qing, warning him not to trust them, and pointing to a location in the ruins. Confused by the situation, he replied quickly, furiously asking who they were, but the reply left him stunned, stating that his uncle, the police, and the He Jie Cheng he saw in the hospital were all imposters. That shocked him deeply, and a vision of Jie Cheng being consumed haunted him. Upon reaching the university gate, another message arrived, and he wondered who the hell it could be this time. He was impressed, as the sender knew his every move, including his meetings with the uncle and the police. This made him tense, as he had the distinct feeling that someone was watching his every move. To prove their identity, the sender sent intimate details that only the two of them would know. Thus, Ban Feng was finally convinced he was talking to the real Heo Jiang Cheng. He then asked him about who was in the hospital, but Jiang Cheng said there was no time, and begged him to save him before the train departed. His friend desperately asked him to go to his house and get something very important to him. Ban Feng asked where the item was, and the reply directed him to the supermarket on the university campus. Jiang Cheng insisted that he take the item to his hometown and said he would buy the ticket, pleading with him to hurry. The object was in a locker, and Jiang Cheng just told him to get it, without explaining how to open it. As he approached the location, he saw that the locker operated with facial recognition. He didn't understand how that would work, but to his surprise, the system scanned his face and unlocked Jiang Cheng's locker. Inside locker number 9, he finally found a package wrapped in a dark blue coat. Looking to the side, Ban Feng immediately texted that he was being followed, and his blonde friend warned him that the man was from the Black Star Agency, and that he couldn't beat him. Ban Feng then informed him that the pursuer was on the phone, and asked if Jiang Cheng could hear the conversation. As he got closer, he heard the man reporting to Captain Zhao that Li Ban Feng had taken an item from the supermarket locker. The agent continued, explaining that he tried to contact Captain Chen, but couldn't reach him. On the other end of the line, the captain gave a clear and terrifying order: exterminate the target and bring the item back. Ban Feng was terrified when he realized the order was for him. Soon he hid among the shelves, desperate, not understanding what he had done to become a target. The agent still questioned the order, but his superior insisted, saying the item was too dangerous. The captain reminded him of why his parents died and the enemy they were facing. With no choice, the agent agreed and moved into action. But to his surprise, the aisle was completely empty. Suddenly, Ban Feng appeared in a blur and shot past him at full speed, catching him completely off guard. The agent propelled himself forward, enveloped in green energy, determined not to let his target escape. With an impressive leap, he launched himself into the air. Banfeng glanced back, startled by the jump, questioning if his pursuer was even human. The agent then caught up to him in midair and intercepted him with a kick, asking where he thought he was going. The impact of the blow threw him violently to the ground. Landing in front of him, the agent ordered him to drop the backpack, warning that he didn't want to hurt him. The man thought to himself that if the captain insisted on the order, it would prove Banfeng really deserved to die. Our hero regretted getting involved in this mess, but he knew it was too late to back down. With a smile, he concluded that since he was already in it, there was no turning back. He then used his ability, precisely throwing a few objects, and stating that from 5 meters away, he never missed. Thus the shards hit the agent's eyes, who screamed in agony. Wounded, the agent retreated, and Banfeng took the chance to run towards the train station. Now in the crowd, the agent said over the phone that he had a plan to lock down the station and capture him. His superior, however, yelled at him, calling him incompetent, and telling him to wait at the station. Far away, the captain ordered Deng Pao not to cause a scene and to keep the operation completely secret. With a dark look, he revealed his plan. The agent would kill Banfeng, and then he would kill the agent to close the matter. At the ticket counter, Banfeng found it strange that train 1160 was still operating. Then he ran through the station, asking on his phone where gate 96 was, and the reply guided him to Concourse 2. Following the instructions, he descended through a dark underground passage located next to the restrooms. The place was dark, and he wondered if the lights were broken. Suddenly, electrical sparks shot through the entire passage. At the top of the stairs, amidst the sparks, he finally saw the light of the exit from that bizarre passage. When he stepped out, he was completely frozen by what he saw. An old-fashioned train was stopped on the platform, and the people were wearing clothes from another era, making him wonder where the hell he was. Soon a message from Jiangsheng arrived, asking if he bought food, but Banfeng was annoyed, stating that he hadn't been told about that before. Jiangsheng then warned him it was an emergency, and told him not to leave the car, and at the same time, an old woman approached him. The vendor then offered instant noodles. Seeing the box, Banfeng thought it came at the perfect time for the situation. He said he'd take 10 boxes for the 2-day trip, but was interrupted by guards, who accused the woman of illegal vending. Outraged, he shouted that it was robbery and snatched the box from the guards' hands. To throw them off, he hugged the woman and said she was his aunt. With the box in his hands, he asked if there was a problem. He then told his aunt that he had to board, and discreetly, he handed her the money. With the box in hand, he said his goodbyes and waved to the woman, finally boarding the mysterious train. Enveloped in a golden aura, the old woman watched him depart, wishing the young man well on his journey. As she walked away, Captain Jiang appeared behind her. He gave a direct order to Deng Pao, telling him to eliminate the suspect. Deng Pao understood this was the last chance the captain was giving him, not Banfeng's last chance to be eliminated. Thus, he prepared to attack, but a hand stopped him. It was Captain Chen, who advised him not to be rash. Captain Jiang was annoyed by the interference, saying Banfeng had escaped with an important item, and that this was their only chance to catch him. But with a smile, Chen said that made sense, and he could go, as they would wait for him right there. Chen then explained that Banfeng took the item from the lucky star, and would now have 3 strokes of luck, and sending Deng Pao after him was suicide. Deng Pao was shocked, realizing that Captain Jiang knew this, and had still sent him on a suicide mission. Jiang defended himself, saying he wasn't sure if she was the lucky star, but the item was crucial and worth the risk. Soon, Chen cut off the argument, saying it was better to let things take their natural course. The old man stated that Banfeng wasn't a dark energy user, and that going to Pulo was a suicide mission for him. With an enigmatic look, Chen thought that with the lucky star's blessing, the young man would reach Pulo, but he wondered if he would still be the same when he returned. Thus, our hero finally boarded car number 7 of train 160. Soon, a series of bizarre announcements came on, welcoming the passengers and asking them not to move around, to keep their curtains closed, and not to allow strangers into their compartments. Exhausted, Banfeng threw himself onto a sofa inside a luxurious compartment, relieved to finally be able to rest a little. He then received a message from Jiaqing, who scolded him, saying he should follow the train's rules. Banfeng replied furiously, demanding to know what the hell was going on. But Jiang Cheng just said he was trapped and that they would talk in person. Our boy insisted, asking about the package, but Jiang Cheng deflected, telling him to rest. As he tried to sleep, he thought about the mystery of the item, remembering that Captain Jiao had said it would kill many people. A short while later, it was announced that the train would soon arrive at Sanlidao Station, asking passengers to prepare to disembark. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through his head. Knocks on the door woke him, and a woman's voice begged him to let her in, even for just a moment. He wondered how she knew there was a man in there, since he hadn't left the compartment since he boarded. Soon, a child's voice also pleaded, but it was followed by a man's voice, who ordered someone to just kick the door in. The doorknob rattled violently, while the woman continued to beg desperately for him to open up. Tense, he remembered the warning not to let strangers in, and questioned the group's intentions. Suddenly, a conductor ordered them to disembark, and the noises stopped. Soon, silence fell over the car, and Banfeng found himself completely alone again, standing in the middle of the compartment. With a relieved smile, he concluded they were just trying to ride for free, and were nothing more than mere stowaways. Then, a new announcement informed them that the train was departing for the next station. Feeling safe, he relaxed on the sofa again, but his peace was shattered by a skeletal hand, which pounded violently on the window next to him. Startled, he saw a hideous creature outside and realized it it was the same woman from before. Our hero looked up and was shocked to realize they were on the roof of a moving train, questioning the sanity of those people. Soon, several other creatures appeared at the window, banging on the glass and begging to get into the car. Seeing this, he felt disoriented, not understanding what was happening to his body. His neck began to itch intensely, and when he touched it, he felt blood trickle, as if something were growing there. That's when a dark energy exploded from his back, forming two demonic figures that hovered behind him.